Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Michael Vargas. I'm a business consultant who works with organizations to create productive and collaborative team cultures. This is a video series by Lead by Impact, talking to leaders who share their own hero's journey with cultures. And today we have Scott Robinson. Hey, Scott.
What's up, Michael? How are you?
Good, man. Good. And just to let people know about Scott, he is the founder of Freshform, an experience design consultancy that leverages strategic design, design thinking, and customer experience principles to grow and differentiate brands. Scott has been in the field of design and digital marketing for 20 years and is at the helm of Freshform since 2001. He's intensely interested in the interaction of design, technology, business, and human behavior in the digital age. And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but we met a few years ago at the Open IDEO in San Diego.
That is true. That is a true statement. We started as really standing up the Open IDEO organization and the chapter that was here in San Diego, and we were one of 40 chapters around the world that was using human-centered design and practicing human-centered design in our own community, and then sharing that back with the corporate organization, which was still a for good, social good enterprise based in San Francisco. So fantastic times together. We had some crazy ideas that we pulled together, and we met a lot of really good people along the way.
Yeah, and we still get to see a lot of those people to this day, which is really nice. So Scott, in your own words, can you tell us a little bit about what is it that you do?
Haha, good question. Uh, so as you mentioned, I started Freshform in 2001. So after 20 years and really kind of four pivots of the organization, I still stand as at the helm of Freshform as the president and CEO. So working with a team of, we're a boutique consultancy, and we focus on helping companies design, measure, and manage their customer experiences.
Nice. And so now diving a little bit into the team culture, in your perspective, what is it that you feel people want in a team culture? I know there's a variety of things, but what do you think is one of those main things?
So I see culture as kind of a yes and. Uh, it's not just one thing. So there's multiple things that I think that teams look for, um, and are attracted to when they look at organizations. And so, um, first and foremost is a sense of belonging, right? But it's belonging with independence. It's yes and. Um, I think people are looking for mentorship, but they're also looking to showcase their talents, the ability to, share, and get on stage and be appreciated for what they're doing. And then the kind of third area is an area that I really refer to as purpose and progress. And so it's not only working and being a part of something that is incredibly valuable and purpose driven, but also the ability to have incremental progress, daily progress that can be felt, and achievement that feels right. And you're not going to have to wait 5 years, but every day you're progressing in some way, shape, or form.
I think that's very elegantly and beautifully said. And I appreciate the call out to improv for you all who don't know. Yes, and is a concept in improv that really is about saying what is going on in the reality and then building off of it. And I really appreciate you diving into that sense of belonging, right? Feeling that people can really feel a part of what is happening here as they are as human beings. Now, as a leader, what was a challenge you had in particular regarding team culture?
Well, it's maybe just still a little too recent, and you probably heard this from some other leaders that you've been interviewing in your series. But post the post COVID uh, engagement, right? Where and how can you have a Zoom culture, right? For those that had a physical presence, that had an office, that had the ability to have daily interactions or collisions with one another that allow for you to um, connect, right? And belong and feel part of something that's larger just than sitting in your, home office. And so that Zoom engagement is that how do we, how do we get beyond just pure screen time, with one another.
And
So that was a huge challenge.
what do you think are some of the kind of the secondary challenges because of that?
Well, I think, you feel that one of the things that you have is you had a bond when you see each other. You can go to lunch, you can do all these things. And so, kind of a secondary kind of response to that is this sense of isolation in which, am I a part of a team? Really second guessing, what am I here for? Why am I doing this? Why did I pick this gig, to be a part of and this team to be a member of? And so I think what it does is it allows for culture to have a chance to atrophy a little bit, without the sense of consistency and engagement and visible representation and the vibrancy that happens in a physical office. So how can I think that there was this interesting isolation, or I feel like I'm on an island, in the culture. So that was kind of a primary and secondary response. And this is just, again, very recent. But it's happened, and it has an opportunity to happen if you're not paying attention to your culture at all. So it's something, regardless of COVID, regardless of Zoom time, whatever it is that it's just right around the corner if you're not caring for your culture.
And for a lot of organizations, for your, whenever I walked into Fresh Form, I always thought this place just feels so good. It's so open and people are there with one another and getting to really collaborate. And I think that's something people strive for in general, because a lot of people can feel, even though they're technically a part of the team, they can still feel very disconnected to it. So this can amplify it even more, right? With everyone working at home and really feeling that that's working in silos amplified. And so what are some of the things that you have been doing to kind of work around that and bring people together?
Yeah, it's good. It's a great point. So there's a variety of different things, some of which we were doing before, and not necessarily in reaction to or responding to kind of the current events. Um, but I think there's a few kind of areas. One is constantly listening. So we have a tool called Office Vibe, which just allows people to have a voice, 24/7. But it's also kind of a system in which it sends out arbitrary timed surveys. So here's a series of interesting kind of questions that allow for you to answer how you're feeling, how you're being valued within the organization, and a variety of different ways. So you always have kind of a suggestion box, and so that was it. One of the big things though that we did in response to everything was that uh, you know, without having kind of a weekly stand up, or the ability to kick off the week, or the ability to see each other after the weekend, or be able to kind of reconnect over lunch, or even grab a lunch together as a team. Kind of that was a consistent Friday thing. Um, we had to manufacture a time together. So having a consistent weekly session, so we needed to create a shared experience. And so collaboration kind of, again, it became kind of very focused into our client engagements and our projects and things like that. But what we weren't working on is us and together. And so what we did was we actually put together what we considered was more of an internal training program, but it was also a series in which we learned, we discussed, and then we experimented. Kind of that three-step process, week over week. So we did this for 15 weeks in the second half of 2021, and kind of the real intent was having a shared experience. And we actually called it like a re-onboarding to the team, to our culture, to be able to have a conversation, to be able to do this. And so, and it wasn't just yeah, I'm a talker. Everybody on my team knows I can talk for hours. But what we tried to do was bring a variety of different teachers into the training. So there's a variety of different folks from the team that were establishing an expertise and a voice, and being able to present and share and engage the team from the stage. And so that gave everybody, not everybody kind of the time on stage, but everybody had a voice, everybody had an opportunity to be able to do this. And there's the different subjects in which we kind of looking from a professional development, angle to at least help level people up. And so 90 minutes a week, 15, 16 weeks that we did it. And then we had kind of a capstone, project, but it was fun, there's pros and cons again to everything. It's but what it did was did one thing, is that we had a very consistent week over week time together, 90 minutes to have a conversation about one thing. And it was really kind of unifying our purpose and unifying kind of core elements of what Freshform is all about, is experience design. So yeah, and we have I have a million things I could share, but that's one thing I think that really stands out as to how we responded.
And when you were telling me about this earlier, and as you say it now, the thing that comes up for me in this is this idea of inclusion, right? People talk about inclusion all the time, and I love the idea. Diversity is inviting people to the dance. Inclusion is asking people to dance. And what you did there was you asked your employees to really engage in this. Let them get to speak on the topics they care about. Let them be a part of this every single week. And so that, I think, when people get to start taking more ownership of the experience, that's when people are going to feel more engaged. And how would you say you grew from that experience? What did you learn? What did you take away?
Uh, it's as a leader over the years, you kind of you feel like you got to own it all, or you got to kind of take that. And I think that the ability to step back a bit and actually have, um, having shared leadership, right? And it's not based on title or age or experience or anything like that. It's based on, those who want to step into, their own greatness in that particular way. So that was one kind of particular area. And then the shared experiences as a concept, we've done that in, spot kind of instances over the 20 years. But wow, it's like such a great opportunity to have a shared experience. It's again going back to Open Idea Days, and some of the work that we were doing, is we were just, that was practicing human-centered design, and that was really kind of sharing, teaching, learning from one another, the peer engagement. And then we have these, I always have this concept going, how can we take moments and turn them into memories, right? So this great opportunity to be able to do that. And when you create, a moment in isolation versus a memory with, your peers and the people around you, I think it gives you a totally different platform to stand on, and it gives you something to reminisce about and to build upon. So as a team, as a unifying element, shared experiences are absolutely, they're critical part of growing that culture, and then building it, not just, from a few posters on the wall, but from, a bunch of memories. And then it turns from memories into rituals and traditions and things like that really kind of build and cultivate a culture. So yeah, culture will atrophy, um, unless you work on it, you build it, and you do it together. So it's totally an interesting process, in which I think for me personally, it's not coaching from the sidelines, coaching it in tandem and working together with a team. I think it's an all hands exercise, if you will.
Very elegantly said. And I'm just so thankful you're here with us today to share this. Really getting to just dive in on the engagement, the created, this thing that we can create together, and so many different avenues in which you were able to kind of get inspiration for that to really bring your team together. So I just want to say thank you so much for this. There's a big reason why I wanted to interview you, and this is just a small little sliver of an example of the consideration, the care, the efforts, the purposefulness that you put into your team. So I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share your story and share your expertise, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here. And I think, in general, beyond, what we're just doing at Freshform, and very much so, what we built in San Diego as far as the Design Forward Alliance and what we're doing as a community. I think that's another element of not just in the office developing a culture, but how do you then bring the culture to the community and build the community? um, that then perpetuates a culture. So I think that there's a social element of what actually can start to extend out of an office, um, and then the members of the team can share with one another, not only a regional level, but then also level it up to to sharing it with the world. So lots of really really good opportunities to build culture at a multifaceted way. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And with that, what are some of the ways that people can learn more about you, maybe learn more about your organization, Design Forward Alliance, anything like that?
Yeah. So hit me up on LinkedIn anytime. And once COVID breaks down, we'll grab a coffee. Love grabbing coffees with people. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to just talk and to learn from new people. But LinkedIn's a great place to just have a conversation. Freshform.com. Or designforwardsd.com is really a little bit about what we're doing with the design community here in San Diego. So thank you, sir. I very much appreciate your time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you again sharing everything that you did today. And folks, if you'd like to hear more from leaders or learn about team culture, you can visit us at leadbyimpact.com. Thank you so much for being here. And again, thank you, Scott. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Cheers.
Bye.